Welcome class to Recipe Reviews 101. We're going to take a recipe today, dissect it down, find out what's going on with it, give you some ideas about what you might encounter when you make this recipes and how it's going to come out for you. And today we're going to talk about Sheetpan Huevos Rancheros from the October 2018 edition of Food Network magazine. So grab yourself a pen, paper, and an appetite for learning, because I'm Professor Kitchen and class is in session. Welcome class. Today we're going to talk about Food Network magazine's 2018 October edition recipe Sheetpan Huevos Rancheros. Because it's really done differently. When I saw Sheetpan Huevos Rancheros, so let's stop a minute. Maybe you don't know what Huevos Rancheros is. Usually it just is scrambled eggs with picante sauce on top. Sometimes there's other things. This is really going more into the realm of nachos than it is Huevos Rancheros, which makes it pretty interesting when you think about egg and nachos. So I was like, I'm not sure about this, but let's talk about it. Ingredients are as follows: 15 small corn tortillas, each cut into 6 wedges. That's a lot of corn tortillas. 3 tablespoons of vegetable oil, 1.5 teaspoons of ground cumin, a ½ teaspoon chili powder, kosher salt and freshly ground pepper, an ant on my leg. Where was I? Oh, 1 dried ancho chili pepper, stemmed, 1 14.5 ounce canned tomato sauce, 1 scallion, roughly chopped. If you don't know what a scallion is, it's a type of onion. 1 jalapeno pepper, thinly sliced. 1/2 cup packed fresh cilantro, plus more for topping. 1 16-ounce can of chili beans and sauce. 12 large eggs. 1 ripe avocado chopped. 1/2 cup crumbled Kwartet cheese. And then lime wedges for serving. The first thing I notice about this recipe is it's going to feed a lot of people. Let's see, it doesn't even say how many. Yeah, it says it serves 6. With 12 large eggs and all this other food on top, I think it's going to feed 6 hungry people, or maybe 2 teenagers. You've got 15 small corn tortillas cut into 6 pieces each. So you're looking at each one of these is going to be about 1 bite size. And let's see, that's 96 individual bites. So yeah, since they're cutting to 6, that's 15 bites per person. I guess that math would have been easier to do it that way. Let's take a look at how the recipe works and see what's going on here. First, it says preheat the oven to 425 degrees. So we're cooking at a pretty high heat. I normally cook things about 350. This is up to 325. That's pretty high. So what we're looking to do with that high of a heat is we're really looking to melt everything and get everything crispy more than cook it. That's kind of what that kind of a high heat with this, because everything's going to be thin on a sheet pan. And it says line a rimmed baking sheet with foil. Add the tortilla wedges, drizzle with the vegetable oil, and sprinkle with 1/2 teaspoon cumin, chili powder, and 1/2 teaspoon of salt, and a few grinds of pepper. Spread on the baking sheet in a single layer and bake, stirring occasionally until crisp, 20 to 30 minutes. They're taking the regular corn tortillas and they're cooking them up with the spices on them already to make flavored chips, just like you might buy chips at the store that have already been flavored. You're doing these yourself, so that's pretty cool. Number 2, meanwhile, combine the ancho chili and 1/4 cup hot water in a blender. Let stand until the chili is softened, about 5 minutes. Add the tomato sauce, scallion, half the jalapeno slices, the cilantro, remaining 1 teaspoon cumin, 1/2 teaspoon salt, and a few grinds of pepper. Puree until smooth. Lightly mash the chili beans in their sauce in a medium bowl until chunky. Okay, so you got 2 things going on here. First, you're taking the ancho, which is dried chili, and you're putting it in water to let that ancho soften up, so when you blend it up, it will actually blend up and won't just end up in fibrous chunkies. Adding the other stuff into it, so making a sauce out of it, and then blending it together. And then you also got the chili beans, and then smooshing them up. You're basically making like you might buy a bean dip at the store. You're kind of doing exactly the same thing here. So you've got your sauce, and you've got some bean dip to put on top of it. And you've got your chips that you made in step number 1. So those 3 things we've accomplished so far. Number 3, remove the tortillas from the oven. Drizzle with about 1/2 cup of the ancho sauce and top evenly with the mashed beans. Crack the eggs on top, spacing them out. Season with salt and pepper. Oh, that's interesting. So what we've got going on here is that instead of scrambling the eggs like you would normally think of with huevos rancheros, they've got the nachos down and they put bean dip on top of the chips and they got some sauce on top of there. And now they're just taking the eggs and cracking them just like you would a fried egg on top of everything. So it's making almost like a casserole style. Gently run a rubber spatula through any thick egg whites to break them up and help the eggs cook more evenly. Now notice it says through the egg whites, not through the yolks. So what you're trying to do here is not make a big mush of yolk and white, but you're trying to make sure that the whites touch each other of all the eggs, and so when they bake together, it becomes one seamless part across the whole thing, but you still have the bubbles of yolk. Bake until the egg whites are opaque, about 15 to 20 minutes. Just crack them on. The egg whites aren't white, right? They're clear. You're going to cook them until the clear egg whites become white egg whites. Huh? This says drizzle with 1 cup more ancho sauce. Top with avocado, cheese, remaining jalapeno slices, and more cilantro. Serve with lime wedges and the remaining ancho sauce. So what you have going on is you've got your chips that you've baked and now they're crispy. And they got the flavoring on them. And then you're putting your sauce and your beans. And then you're putting eggs on top of those. And you're breaking up the egg whites only. But you still have your bubbles of the yolk. And then you're going to throw that in the oven. And you're going to cook that until the whites actually turn white. And then you're going to layer some more of your flavorings on top. So you're going to have almost like a 7-layer dip with the chips on bottom and an egg smack in between. Very interesting way of doing huevos rancheros. I'm not sure I would call it huevos rancheros. Maybe they call it sheetpan huevos rancheros. It's almost nachos huevos rancheros, which is an odd thought. You try it. Let me know what you think. Tell me down in the comments section below. Hope you all have a great week. God bless. Class dismissed.